everyone to another episode of a Disciplined Habits podcast. I'm Jess Gordon, your host, and today I have a guest with me.
Hi.
I've got my girl. This is Abbey Tipton. So go ahead, Abbey, and tell us your name, who you are, just a little bit about you, so that way we can, just the listeners can see who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad that I'm here. So excited.
No, I'm so excited to have you.
It's like another chit chat session with you.
Yes, we always chit chat
all the time. Whenever we're together, we're like, oh, it's hours later. But I can definitely tell a little bit more about myself. My name's Abbey, and I am. This question's always really hard for me to explain who I am a little bit, because it's like the fun fact question. I'm like, I'm not interested or interesting at all. But I'm from Alabama. I just recently moved to Tampa a couple of months ago, and for work, I do talent acquisition, corporate recruiting. That's my go-to. I love it so much. But this is such a hard question for me, Jess. I'm trying to think of different things. I'm like, I have a cat that I love so much. Yes. And I'm a younger sister to an older sister. Yay. And I have a niece and a nephew, and I love them, and they live about an hour from here, so I get to see them all the time. Yep. But I feel like I'm pretty low key. I don't have crazy facts about myself. Yeah, well, that is okay. And I feel like you're just such a sweet person to be around, and I love hanging out with you. So we are obviously brand new friends. But today, guys, we wanted to tell you all about, because she just moved here, in February, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. She moved here to Tampa from Alabama in February. And so I moved here. It's coming up on a year. So we are both fairly new to the city, both moved away from home. Was that your first time? Is this your first time? Yeah. Same here. Never done anything like that. Same here. We wanted to give you our best advice, especially for anyone who's looking for a Christ-centered community, because we both have kind of rooted ourselves in the church and been able to create friends through that, but then also other friends in other parts of our lives. So we wanted to share our best pieces of advice with that. We're in our Tampa era. We're both in our Tampa era. So we just want to give you girlies, or guys, I guess, all of the inside scoop on what it's like to move and some of our best advice for you. So I think my first question that I would love for you to share, Abbey. Well, actually, let's talk about how we met. Okay. I think that's a good start. That's a good start. Do you want to kind of go into it? Yeah, sure. I feel like how we met was very God ordained. It's very I wouldn't say it's crazy unique, but it is very how in the world did that even happen? Yeah. Because you weren't even the first person that I met. Yeah. We met each other blind, literally. Yeah, we literally were texting each other before we even met. And it's I'll see you there. And that's how it happened. Yep. And then we were kind of okay, this works. This is a good friendship. We have a lot in common. Yeah. I remember I had gone to church. It was my second week. I was okay, I'm ready to possibly find something to get involved in at the church so I can begin meeting people, because I literally knew no one. I was sitting at church by myself. Yeah. So I walked my happy self up to the welcome tent, and that is where I met our friend Elena. Yes. And she was very hospitable. She was oh, I think you would be get really along well with my friend group, whatever. So she texted me, but the timing didn't work out, and there was a young adult event that was happening at our church. And so I texted Elena to see if she was going to be there, and she was I'm actually out of town, but I'll get you connected with one of my girls. Yeah. And that's where Jess came into the picture. Yes. And Jess texted me, and we just met up at that event, and then we just chatted, and I noticed, I was I think we have a lot in common, and we kind of have the similar vibe. Yes. And so, we just started hanging out outside of that. Yeah. And then, Jess kind of just brought me in, and it's been amazing, and I love it so much. And I feel what's so cool about the whole story of how we met is you went to church by yourself at first, but then you took a leap of faith to go up to the welcome tent, and you put yourself out there, and you were I need to find community. I want to find community. Yeah. And you did that. And it worked out so good. We were connected then through Elena, which if you guys have been listening to my previous episodes, you know that Elena was the one that kind of got me plugged in with the Radiant community. So it's so cool that the same thing happened for you. And then we ended up being friends. And literally, I remember texting you days before we actually had met, and we were just chatting, whatever. And then we actually met. And I think I remember this correctly. You were oh, are you Jess? And I was yeah, because we were meeting in the lobby of the church. Yeah, by the back. I was oh, hey.
Like, we literally had never seen each other. I didn't know what you looked
like.
I
had no idea who it was. And that can be intimidating. It's kind of like from either side. It's like new person in town, but even someone who's like knows their way around the church is like, it's still kind of like meeting new person blindly is kind of hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
There's also different seasons. So like, I felt like when I moved, the semester was already kind of established. So I was like, I kind of really have to go out of my way to like meet people because small groups are already in session.
Yes.
You know, people have their people. It's kind of like a really strange season, but that's where a church that has a welcome tent, you need to go up to it, even if it's scary. Cause you're like, I don't normally talk to people at the welcome tent, but I just need to figure out how to meet people. And so, I like can only imagine if I would have waited till like a small group semester to start. I'm like, I would have felt really like kind of lonely and probably by myself, and like sitting alone at church is like never fun. But, I
think that's
it was like the timing was perfect. The timing was great. And so it's like, okay, I'm just going to push back that like fear right now and just go for it.
No, I think that's so good. And that just goes to show like, even though it's scary at first, you got it. You can do it.
Yeah.
So I love that you did that. What made you decide to move to Tampa, Abby? And like, was God involved like with your decision to move to Tampa? Because you work remote. So it wasn't like you were moving for a job. You were just moving. So tell us a little bit about that and like how the Lord was kind of guiding you along this journey of deciding to move to Tampa.
Yeah. So I feel like God is always in everything that I do. And it's like giving him, glory and honor in that. So what ultimately led it is I was actually trying to move to Tampa like 2 years ago and it just was not good timing. I was trying to like put it on my own timing.
Yes.
And there were so many things happening in my life and I could have easily moved at that time, but I just felt like the Lord was like, it is just not time yet. He wasn't telling me that I wasn't going to get there, but there was nothing super spiritual or that I think from what I gathered, about the specific location. I do feel like God allowed me to choose where I wanted to go. And he guided me to get there and get to that place because I always knew I wanted to move away from my hometown. I had lived in the same place my entire life, but I was like, I know that my life isn't ending here and it's not going to be like my foundation of my life is not going to be in Birmingham. And so, I always knew I was going to move somewhere, but I never knew where until probably like 2 years ago. I was like, okay, Tampa's it.
Yeah.
And I'd actually only visited here about 2 times before I moved. So it's like, I just knew I would like it. So there is probably a sense of some spiritual discernment that the Lord gave me like, hey, I want you to go here. But there's things I liked about the city. It's like a city vibe, but then there's a beach vibe and it's a good like mix. And so that's something that I knew I enjoyed, but I just like, didn't come 2 years ago like I thought I was going to come and I had to go through a few things and God has really like set me up and the timing has literally been so perfect to come because it's been so easy and it's been a season where there's been a lot of people in my life, not that they've like meant to, but it's like kind of fear as like this is what happens when you move to a new city. You're probably going to be lonely. You're probably going to have all these not have any friends for a long time. You're going to there's all these negative things about moving to a new city and I was kind of like get away from me with that. Like, I was like, don't do that to me.
I felt like the Lord was telling you to move out of your hometown. Which I feel like is something that you should be obedient to.
Yeah. It was just like, I don't know when. I didn't want to mess something up that God wanted for me. But I just knew that there was something bigger for me elsewhere. And my experience since moving is just been completely opposite of what people have like kind of fear mongered me about. And I can definitely get more into that because it's very God ordained. And so that's how I'm like, I feel like I'm actually here at the right time and I didn't rush things and I was patient.
Yes.
Even though the Lord, I wanted to come 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah, I wanted to come 2 years ago and then I pitched a little fit and I was so unhappy, but the Lord's timing is perfect and he was setting me up for success. And
did it help you grow spiritually? I mean, I'm sure it also helped you grow just like as a person.
Yeah, I've like already experienced like a lot of growth personally because I felt like there was like supernatural confidence that came over me of like even walking up to a welcome tent. Like I would have never done that.
That's confidence in the Lord.
Yes, like I would confidence from the Lord. I'm scared and I'm nervous to like go and try to meet new people and it always is nerve-wracking to like really think about. But I think there's been like supernatural like confidence in moving to a place and doing things. So I have grown and as a person since being here and then just kind of being okay with doing life alone. I've never had an issue doing life alone, but I'm even more confident because it's like I know that the Lord brought me here and I'm in this season and this isn't going to be my season forever.
Yeah.
And so I can enjoy that. You know, there's joy to be found in it.
Oh, yes.
So I think that, the Lord's kind of definitely grown me in a lot of places in my personality and characteristic to kind of step out and then also help maybe someone else who's like thinking the same thing or has a similar personality to me. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I would say I was definitely like called here, but I was able to pick a place. Like I feel like the Lord, you know, did allow me to choose that. And I wasn't chasing anything. You know, I kind of was able to come, and I think that's where God has really like shown up in that way.
Yeah. Whenever you were preparing to move, like how was the Lord kind of working in you? Was it like through prayer that you were like really relying on the Lord? Like were you praying for relationships here? Like kind of walk us through that a little bit.
No, that's a great question.
And like what's a way for someone to prepare to move if they're thinking about it?
No, that's like a really great question, because it's like you don't want to just like leap. You want to have some sort of plan, but you also don't want it to be so much of your plan and not have God involved in it at all. So for me, I was coming out of a really hard season. So my prayer time with the Lord is like, Lord, any way that you can get me out of here. Like it's not even physically, but like out of this space and like what's going on in my life.
Yeah.
And so I felt like through that hardship, God was really preparing my heart as far as leaning on him and things that are uncertain and like new, because I had never experienced anything what was going on in my life. Like there was so much. So I spent a lot of time in prayer, a lot of time like, Lord, okay, I'm kind of taking a leap of faith. I'm a planner to the type A planner to the core. I want to know every step I'm going to take, and I usually freak out if I don't. And so this was like a huge jump for me because the Lord was kind of like, it's not happening in your timing, but like you can go now, you know? And
that's the cool thing about God's timing is it's like perfect.
Yes.
And I mean, could you imagine moving 2 years ago? It probably wouldn't have been the same experience as if you moved when you did.
Right. And that's the thing is like, I could have 100% moved 2 years ago, but I probably would have struggled in so many ways, mentally, emotionally, financially. I would have struggled in so many ways. And so the Lord knew that. And so, you know, I listened and I obeyed even when I didn't want to. And it's now led to a very like joyous season that I'm like, wow, this has been the most perfect occasion that I could have ever thought moving to a new city.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah. And there's still so much to come. I'm only 4 months in. So
like,
exactly. What else is going to happen?
Literally.
You know?
It's so cool. And it's like, that is just so encouraging to hear for somebody listening to like hear her experience. Like you wanted to move 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But the Lord was like, not quite yet, Abby.
Yeah.
Pause a little bit. I have something really good for you. You just have to wait a little bit longer. And I feel like I am so guilty of this. Like, I'm really like, I want it now.
Yes.
I want it now. There are some things in my life that I'm waiting for, but the Lord just keeps on reminding me, and you're a perfect example of this, that his timing is the best timing.
It truly is. It's like, it's such a cliche thing. And so a lot of people are like, oh, that's so cliche Christian-y. It's cliche for a reason because it works and it's true.
Yes.
Like,
and walking out, trusting God's timing is way different than just being like, I'm trusting God. Like you actually have to walk out being like, Lord, I am trusting you.
Yes. Like that's all that I know how to do. Like I just show up in my quiet time. I'm like, this is all I can do right now. And this is all I can. And like, trust is that you're going to, to walk and be there with me and show up.
No, that's so good. I love that so much. That is so good. So thank you for sharing that. Abby, I want to know, obviously you came up to the welcome tent, but what are some other tips that you can give somebody who's like trying to find maybe a Christian community, or maybe just not even that, just friends in general as a young adult? Because I know that can be hard. It's kind of hard to find friends as an adult.
So hard.
So speak on that. Give some tips. Yes. Obviously you're only 4 months in, but you still have created like a good amount of friends here the time that you've been here.
Yeah, I'm super thankful for that because I always thought, I'm like, making friends, especially in your upper 20s or mid 20s, it's like so hard. And you're like, how in the world am I going to meet friends? Because, you know, in high school or college, you were with those people all the time. Literally. You're kind of like going to be friends because you're in the same
doing
classes.
Life together.
But like all of us now, we go to work. We don't really see each other in the week. We see each other on the weekends and at church. And that's like how we build friendships and stuff. So you have to be very intentional with the people that you do meet. So that's like kind of my first piece of advice is like, you meet someone that you like vibe with, get their number. Like that's literally like, hey, sorry, I'm new to town. You can totally like, my personality right now is I'm new to Tampa. Like that's my personality. And so it's like, yeah, I just moved here a couple months ago. Like would love to like get your number or like any way of like go on a walk, or you know, anything to plan. Like we can grab dinner, grab coffee, something like that. So you have to be intentional with things like that, because you're not in a season where like you're going to be going to class or showing up at school at 8 a.m. every single day, where it's like, we kind of are forced to be friends. Like, there's nothing forced. And that's like the best part, is you don't have to force any relationship you don't want.
Yes, there you go. Yeah. And I actually love that you use the word intentional. I think that's such a good word, because that's the thing. Like when you're trying to make friends post-grad or whatever, you have to be intentional about it. Like you have to make the effort to like build the relationships. And it's just like, it can be exhausting almost, but like you have to be intentional if you want to have connections and be like in a good community and all the things. So I actually love that you said that word. That's such a good word to describe it. So I love that.
Yeah. And like, all you can do is like ask. So it's like, if you want to do something, like try to bring someone in. Like the worst case scenario is they're busy or they don't want to do it. And then you meet someone else and they do want to do it. So it's literally like, you just got to ask and be intentional, and just kind of, even if it's someone you chat with at the grocery store, like it's even if you don't go to church and that's not really a part of your life, but like, if you meet someone that you vibe with.
Yeah, or at the gym too.
At the gym, the grocery store, the gym, on a walk, you run into people on the track and they have a cute dog, you have a cute dog, something like that. Yes, like, you just like, hey, like, we kind of have something in common. We both have a cute dog. Like, it's like, then let's, chat more.
Yeah, let's chat more.
So,
like,
it sounds so scary, but I feel like that's how a lot of people, meet. And especially on the outside world, is you just kind of doing your life day to day. And why not? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I love that you said that. Now I'm wondering, Abby, obviously you're very involved with Radiant now. You're serving already. You've put yourself out there, met a lot of my friends. Like, we're kind of like doing all life together now. So my question is, how did you find Radiant? Like, what made you pick Radiant, and what made you pick this church in particular? Like, if you have advice for people finding a church community or just finding a Christ community, as a whole.
Yeah. So I found Radiant. One, if you were looking for a church, the best way to find churches in the area is just Google, like top churches in Tampa, Florida. Radiant popped up because it's one of the biggest churches. Yes. There's so many locations in Tampa. And I was also familiar with how it's affiliated and how it's a business, a church. And so my church at home is very similar. Like, it's like complete copycat of Radiant. And so I walked in, and so it was very familiar. So it was a sense of home. And so that's kind of how I chose Radiant, was because it was something like familiar to me. But as far as picking like, church, you can church shop. You can literally
that's actually a great piece of advice.
Yeah. Like, you can totally church shop just because the first church you attend, like, you don't have to go there, and you could be visiting for months and months and months before you find a home church. Like,
actually true. I heard a study one time that was like, to find your church home, you at least need to attend it for 90 days.
Yeah.
And it's like, before you can really know. But I mean, sometimes you might find it sooner than that too.
Right. So like for me, like, the church I visited was Radiant, and I like liked it, and I felt comfortable. I visited 1 week, and then I didn't talk to anyone, and then I visited the next week, and that's when I got connected at the welcome tent, just because I was like, I think this could be a good spot. And in those weeks, like, obviously you're not at church every single day, it's just on Sundays, but I was really prayerful because I wanted the Lord. I was like, I want to find community. And like, so finding a church, like, I think setting up what you're looking for in a new city. So like, my priority was a faith-based community. So where am I going to find that? Yeah. And like, that doesn't mean the church you start attending when you first move to a location is going to be your end all be all if you're here in a city for a long time. But I think I was like super prayerful because of, I was like, what's my priority? A faith-based community. Where can I meet a lot of people? Yeah. Probably South Tampa Radiant. Yeah. Like Radiant South Tampa. Like,
really good to like list out what are your priorities.
Yeah.
Too. So, like, also you care a lot about if you go to the gym or whatever, like, oh, you can meet people at the gym. You already have something in common. You both are at the gym.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines. You both like to play pickleball, meet them at the pickleball court. Right. Kind of deal, so.
There's like so many things, and like figuring out like what is, like what's your priority? And for me, it was finding community. And Radiant has so many campuses across Tampa Bay, but I chose South Tampa specifically because of the young adult kind of scene. Yeah. And there's so many young people.
So many.
And so figure that out. Like, you don't want to go to a campus that has only families and, older people, unless you want that to be your community. But like, for me, I wanted girls and everyone to be in a similar season of life as me, because that's just what I'm looking for.
No, for sure. Yeah. I think that's another thing, like with the gym. I used to go to one gym and I stopped going there because it wasn't really young adults. It was more older folks. And so I switched my gym and I found one that is a little bit more catered, or not even catered, but it just seems like way more young people go there. So it's like, oh, you know, you never know who you're going to meet or whatever. Right. So, and I mean, the gym is a good place too for anybody who's trying to find like a friend or a buddy, or I don't even know.
Yeah.
You know? So that's good. This is really like not really faith-based, but like what's a culture shock that you had moving to Tampa? Because I know I've had a few being from the Northeast, like northern part of the country compared to Tampa. So it's definitely different.
Honestly, Alabama's very different. It's like Florida's in the Southeast, Alabama's in the Southeast, but it is completely different. People, vibes are so different. So like I am very used to like country type of style. And so Tampa's like a city. So it's like a city vibe. So you have like really cool things going on. I mean, even the environment, like different cultural things that you would never see in Alabama, you see it in Tampa. So it has been much of a shock to like not say too much, but it's really like the whole scene is very opposite. So it's been a little bit of a culture shock that way. And then another thing that comes off the top of my head is the amount of people that have said something about my accent is crazy.
Really?
They call it out every time.
I mean, I can notice it, but I'm not like, oh my goodness.
Like they're like, where are you from? And I'm like, Alabama. They're like, I hear it. And I'm like, okay, I don't say that about your accent. Like you're from like the North, you know? Like I'm like, I don't say anything about your Northern accent. And I'm like, that's like the first thing people say to me. And so I'm like a little bit of a shock. I'm like, that's a little rude. Like, I'm like, I can't help it. Like I'm from Alabama. I get it.
That's so funny. I did not know that. Like I can definitely notice it whenever you're talking, but it's not like dramatic that I'm like.
And I think it's because there's so many people like this, like South Florida is like very, like there's either people from the North that moved down here, or like even Miami, they have it's not Southern. Yeah. Whereas like I'm Southern. So I'm like, I guess I stick out like a sore thumb.
No, it's so diverse here. Like it's so diverse because like I know people that are from like the South. I have another friend from Georgia, but then there's also like lots of people from the North, the Midwest, and then also some people from different parts of Florida. So it's really, especially Tampa is like a mix.
It is.
But I feel like that's the best place to be.
I like it.
Like so much diversity here, and it's like so cool because I'm like, oh, I have friends from there, like literally all over the place. You can probably say the same thing. So it's like, ooh, fun. Right. So yeah, that's so funny. I feel like for me, culture shock, there's a lot of things. Because similarly to you, like where I'm from is not a city. It's very rural, but then also there's like a college town aspect of it, but it's not like major city, none of that at all. So it's like coming here, it's so different. It's so different because it's like where I'm from, we just don't have what they have here.
No, like
all. So just living in a city like this, you can tell there's so many young people, like even just downtown walking around, young people everywhere, young people walking on Bayshore, all of the things. So
Bayshore's
like
packed,
maybe that's honestly a good piece of advice, like moving to somewhere, if the Lord calls you to it, or you feel really like confident that the Lord wants you to leave where you are, and if you're about to move, like being in a city where there's lots of young people, like find the young people.
So. And I think that's the key. Like my sister lives about an hour and a half north from here, and it's like, I could be a little bit closer to her, but like everyone there is like older, or like they have kids and a family, and it just wouldn't be a good spot. So that's like, you got to go somewhere where like it's gonna be fruitful for you.
Exactly. Yes, I love that you said that. That's so good. I'll talk about this, which is what made me feel settled coming here. And I feel like I honestly don't even think that I've ever shared this with, I don't think I've shared this with too many people. But so basically I had an internship in Tampa whenever I was before graduated college, and lived in Tampa for short amount of time. Then went back to school, came back to Penn State, finished up my year. And then I vividly remember whenever I was driving back to Tampa, like from Pennsylvania, and I'm like moving here for real, I just got this sense of overwhelming. It was from the Lord 100%. Like, this is home. Like the Lord was like, I remember driving on I-275 on my way to my brand new apartment being like, this is home. Like the Lord was like, this is your home. And it was just so cool because I feel like a lot of people say this, oh, when you know, you know. And that is with moving. Like, with people say that with their spouse. They're like, when you know, you know. And it's same thing with moving. I just knew driving down the highway on my way to my new home, I was like, this is where God wants me to be.
Yeah.
And I feel like I had just had so much peace, and it was like, I was like wanting to shed a tear because I was so excited.
I love that.
And like that, I hadn't even started living here yet, you know, like it was just the Lord was really like, okay, this is where you're going to be. And I feel like because of that, because of his hand on my life, I just have felt settled ever since.
Yeah. It's like supernatural peace. You're like, never even like would have thought.
Yeah, it doesn't even make any sense, but it just does to me because I know that the Lord called me to here. So I don't know. Do you have some advice or like what you think about how to get settled and what makes you feel settled?
Yeah, that was kind of the same thing for me. It was like, I don't know much about this place. I actually don't even know how to get myself around without the maps, but I feel a sense of like home and that this is where the Lord wants me right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, to get settled, I think it's finding your priorities and what you want to do in this new season of life. So whether that be going to church or, you know, how you want, you know, your friends and how you want your life to live, because it is a new start. So if you're like looking for a new start, like the best thing to do is like maybe go to a new place and like start new habits, whether that be going to the gym regularly or, you know, going to church regularly. And I think that's a way to feel settled and feel completely, you know, kind of at rest in your new season, because it's a lot mentally of like battling, like, am I alone? Am I like making friends? Am I doing a good enough job? And it kind of most of the time comes from like just figuring out your priorities and why you're moving in the first place. I think that's probably what I would say is figuring that out to feel settled.
Yeah. And I think another thing is honestly just constantly praying for the people around you. Like, Lord, I'm just praying and believing for relationships that are going to lead me closer to you. I also just want to have friends that are just fun to be around, have similar hobbies. I feel like that's important. Like in your prayer life, preparing for moving, that's a really good thing to implement. But yeah, that's kind of when I think the last thing that I want to ask you, Abby, is just last pieces of advice for anybody that is considering moving, they've just moved or is about to move. What is the advice that you have to give them?
I would say don't be too hard on yourself. There's room for grace. And also, if it doesn't work out how you wanted, or it's not what you wanted it to be, and it doesn't meet any expectation, it's not that deep. You can just move again. That's all. That's it.
Especially, I actually really like that. I didn't even expect that at all, but yeah, it's not that deep. If you really don't like it, then just move again. But also,
there's so many places.
There are lots of places to go, not just Tampa, but there's lots of places to go.
Right.
So, that's a good piece of advice. Okay. I love that. I love that too.
That's my piece of advice to myself.
Okay.
Like, it's like, if it doesn't work out how you want, like you can just move again. Cause it's just you just put your stuff in a truck and you get going.
Yeah. I love that you said that so much. I feel like, that's pretty hard advice to top. I don't know what other advice I could give that would be better than that. But my thing is just like, I don't even know. Now I'm like, geez, that's hard to top. What's my piece of advice for somebody that's moving? I mean, it's just like, I think also maybe trying new things too when you're moving to a new city. Because kind of like you said, like if you're going to move somewhere, you're kind of like changing a lot of things about your lifestyle. So like, why not try a new hobby too? Like, I don't know, just really put yourself out there and just like do it all. Like
do it all.
Do it all.
Look at all the clubs that are in the area. Like Tampa's huge in pickleball and walk clubs. Like join
walks,
everything.
Run clubs, all the things. So it's like there are so many things to do, especially in a city. Like if you're moving to a city, that's perfect. Like there's gonna be things to do. So definitely just do it all.
Just do it all.
Just do everything that you possibly can. Oh my goodness.
That's great advice too.
Thank you guys for watching. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Bye.